Welcome to BNOW, where we discuss what is happening in and around Brampton. My name is Don McLeod. I got an interesting press release from the city of Brampton today. And basically, it says the city of Brampton wins prestigious financial award. Now, the financial award is given by it's a Canadian award for financial reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. Nice, big, long, fancy title. And what it is, basically, it gives the city of Brampton an award for financial reporting. So Paul Morrison, who's the interim CAO right now, is talking about the award, and he says it represents a significant accomplishment by the city of Brampton and its management, and Brampton is a well-run city. And the award is a testament to our staff and the city's high standards in financial reporting. The reason I bring this up is because the last CAO, David Barrick, was fired February 11th. He was let go. He was actually fired. And just recently, as of today, apparently they're circulating that his lawyer sent letters to all the city councilors and the mayor of Brampton stating that he wants basically 36 months severance, and which is about over $1 million. Plus, also there's another financial remuneration on top of that, and damaging his reputation. So the 6 councillors, and we talked to 2 of them last week. We talked to Pat Fortini and we talked to Martin Medeiros on why it was so important. I brought up, why are you firing this person right now? Why didn't you wait till the end of term, which, the new term starts in October, and then the new city council or the councillors, that were elected could make the decision whether they want to keep him or not. It's a simple. You don't have to basically fire him 10 weeks away from an election. But according to Martin Medeiros, he was taking a blowtorch to local democracy and demanded swift and immediate action. What that action was, he didn't elaborate. He basically said it was an in-camera session. They were talking about it. It was, as he said, democracy is under siege. I mean, it sounds like he was Genghis Khan and running his own empire. So this is coming back to bite the city of Brampton once again. The last CAO, Harry Schlang, we were paying him over $300,000 a year for, I think it was 2 to 3 years after he left. So he got another $1 million. It seems to me, if you want to become a millionaire, forget buying a Lotto 649 ticket. You might as well become the CAO of the city of Brampton, and you're going to walk away with $1 million sooner or later. I mean, we haven't even covered the situation in regards to the HR director, which was let go soon after David Barrick as well. I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of case coming up against that. I just don't understand why in Brampton we have to go through CAOs like people go through, I don't know, like they change your underwear every week or something like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, the city of Mississauga doesn't go through this. The city of Caledon and other major cities have CEOs that last more than one term. I don't understand what the blowtorch was and what the situation was so bad that 6 councillors, Pat Fortini, Gurpreet Dillon, Charmaine Williams, Jeff Bowman, Martin Medeiros, and Doug Willems saw that basically it was a situation where they had to basically kick out the CEO, have him fired, and now we're in a situation where apparently, because the letter was only sent to the city councilors and the mayor, it wasn't publicly put out there. So one of the councilors leaked it, which is another situation. If somebody sends you, something that's basically a private, I don't see where you can just send it out to anyone. But that's the situation. We asked several councillors to come on last week. We had, like I said, Martin Medeiros and Pat Fortini presenting their side of the story. We wanted to get several councillors who didn't vote for this to come on and talk about the situation and give their point of view. Unfortunately, they're at an International Women's Day today at City Hall, and they could not participate, but they said they would come on later. So we will either be next week or in the several weeks ahead, we will be talking to either one of the councillors or 2 of the councillors that did not vote and sign this letter. That's going forward, so it'll be interesting. This is another wrinkle into it. It looks like Brampton taxpayers are going to be on the hook once again after Harry Schlang. Now this CAO, and then, as I said before, I'm sure something is coming from the HR director going forward. So that's the situation. I found it funny that, you know, the Brampton, city of Brampton has a financial award, and the last CEO went through a whole bunch of 0% tax increases, but apparently he was Genghis Khan putting a blowtorch to the entire situation. So we will find out going forward what the situation is, and we'll talk to some of the councillors and give a counterpoint to Martin Medeiros and Pat Fortini. Right now, we're going to go, and International Women's Day is being celebrated today. I'm sure at least everyone knows a woman that's a strong, outgoing woman that has affected their life. I know I have several, and joining me now is Fazal Khan. He's not a woman, but I'm sure you know someone.
A powerful woman here, Don. You set me up.
Well, you know. Yep. So basically, one of the things that, you know, like I like to think of, because there are several, you know, it's a tough gig, women in politics alone, right? I mean, politics is tough enough, but if you're a woman in politics, it seems to be, you know, it's tough enough, right? I mean, we've run into situations where we've had women run in certain, whether it be municipal or provincial elections, and we talk to them, and it's like, it is very tough to get over that situation that they're bossy or pushy. You know, we talked to some, and it was like they want a strong situation. Like, let's take it to the conservative politicians running now. You have Pierre Poilievre and now Jean Charest. Pierre is like basically like Mad Max in my estimation. He's running wild, and you know, he says anything, right? But they look for it's a strong character. It's a character trait. I want a leader. But if a woman did that on the other side, it would be because she would be bossy, right? I mean, you know, the
well, and there are some conservative women that have a strong voice, and you know, you look at the comments under their posts, it's terrible. You know, and you know, it's mostly men making these comments, you know, hiding behind their own, you know, fake accounts, but it's just terrible. I feel so bad when I see this happening. It doesn't matter your party affiliations. It just shouldn't. It just and even locally here in Brampton, right? You know, you just have to look at some of the blogs and who they cover. You know, you just got to question, well, why are they covering that person the way they are, right?
Well, absolutely, and you know, it goes down to the base. I mean, you take a look at someone like Kristen Freeland. She gets pillared, you know, on a regular basis on Twitter and Facebook.
It comes with the territory, but you know,
it comes with the territory. But at the same time, you don't see that against Pierre Poilievre and Jean Charest at this point in time. You know, those are two people running for the conservative leadership at the federal level. I see that Leswin Lewis threw her cap in today. So she's a woman. Let's see what happens.
And she's also a black woman, which is even tougher, right? So the odds are against her, and she keeps fighting. And that's what I think, you know, we have to support people who try to just push those barriers away.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a different take, right? I mean, everyone takes a look at, you know, well, you're married, I'm married, right? I mean, I take a look at my wife, and, you know, like sometimes they'll come up with an opinion, but you know, she'll come up with a different one, but it's like, yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, you do that in marriage, right? You don't have to, but normally any rational person would do that, right? You'd listen to your wife and your other half and say, yeah, okay, there's an agreement there. But then when you get out in the real world, some of these people, they don't do that, right? And they belittle them. And it's like, would you do that to your wife if she was running in that situation, right?
Yeah. You know, and I have 2 daughters as well, right? And, you know, I'm just so happy when I see women out there paving the path, because I know it'll be a little bit easier for my 2 daughters.
Yeah, I mean, role models they always say role models are important. Well, at the same time, yeah, role models are important, but it's, you know, to support those role models is another thing. I mean, I spent, you know, 9 years in the Canadian Armed Forces, and I got to tell you, I mean, some of the toughest people out there going through a whole bunch of different things. I was in the artillery, so they were women. There were a lot of guys that couldn't suck it up, and the women out in the field were a lot better than the men. So, it doesn't make a difference if you're 5'4" and 120 pounds, or 6'2" and 320 pounds. It's like, there's something up here, that's the big part of it, right? It's the mental capacity. So.
And I have, as I said on a couple shows again, I'm dealing with a back issue, but the question my wife will say, well, until you've had a baby, you really can't understand what. So I don't know. You got some surgery coming up too, right? I don't think that qualifies either.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? It's like everybody, the old guy gets a cold and he's down for a week. The wife gets a cold, she goes to work, sort of thing, right? So I don't know. It's like, I think there's still a long way to go in regards to that, especially in North American attitudes. If a woman does a good job and she's, she got her credentials, hey, kudos to her, right? But I just think,
you know what, Don, we're also all learning, right? Especially us men, right? Because we've been in an environment where, we're allowed to say things, and then, slowly over time we realize, how we deal with it. And, none of us are innocent here, right? So it's a work in progress. So
yeah, I mean, you take a look at, let's go south of Brampton to Mississauga just recently with Ron Starr, keying a fellow councillor who just happens to be a woman. And it's funny, a week later, they're all wearing their Stop Bullying T-shirts. It's like, to me, that's the height of hypocrisy. If you're going to do that, and then we're,
well, you said, the other counselor happens to be a woman. I don't think it would have happened if she wasn't a woman.
No, it wouldn't have. There's no way.
And I think I tweeted out when that was happening. It's like, if that was me, or that was my spouse, I'd be doing more than.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be doing more than talking to the integrity commissioner, especially. Yeah, you're keying my car, not once, not twice, multiple times.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, there's a situation there, and especially in politics, and even if you listen to council meetings, right, just on the municipal level, forget about the House of Commons. If municipal level, you listen to council meetings and how some councillors, male councillors, talk to female councillors, and they talk down to them, right? And we're talking councillors that are have a better understanding of certain events than others, and it's like you're talking down to them like a 5-year-old kid. And to me, that's that's not what equality is supposed to be in any way, shape, or form.
Yep. Okay. Anyways, it's International Women's Week as well, so there's going to be events going on the whole week. So if you can get out and participate, support the events, support the organizations. There's lots of organizations trying to deal with this bias issue. So
I think Zonta tonight is hosting the International Women's Day at City Hall today. That's an organization that is in Peel that tries to empower women. So, good for them. They do a good job. They're another nonprofit in the city of Brampton that, does what they have to do, and they do a good job. So kudos to them as well.
Okay, so I also wanted to bring your attention, Don. So the Liberals, the provincial Liberals, have come out with a new logo, and I like computer graphics and stuff like that. So I'm going to show it to you and see what you think. What do you think? It's the circle one here.
If you put a bar in between those and then two little things, you'll have a pair of glasses.
Maybe that's what it's about. I don't know.
What the hell is that?
Is the other one French? What is that?
Yes, libéral. Oui. C'est français. But to me, that's terrible. Like, what
is that? It
doesn't
even look red anymore, right? It looks.
Yeah, it's like a brown. That looks horrible. I wonder who got the contract to do that. The graphics contract. That is terrible.
When I first saw it, I thought it was a joke. It's like, why are they changing their logo? Because the other one, I think, which is down here. Let me open it up.
Yeah.
It's nice, vibrant red. It's Canada red, right? Red and white. Why would you do what they did? I don't know. Ridiculous. Anyways,
I don't know.
Just want to bring that to everybody's attention.
Yeah, we next we got the provincial election coming up, so that'll be interesting. I think 19 now cabinet ministers out of Doug Ford's cabinet are not running,
including Christine Elliott, big one.
Christine Elliott, yep. So we'll see who else. I wonder if Pragmeet's going to stay around.
So I have a scenario here.
Okay,
I'm not going to share it because okay, let's share it. I'll publish.
Yeah. Kick it out there, because it's coming, right?
Okay, so we all know Patrick Brown is considering running for the Conservative leadership, right? So what does that mean for Brampton? Let's say he wins, right? Best case scenario for him and for Brampton, I think, is he wins. So what does that mean for the mayor of Brampton, or who's going to become the mayor? And that the municipal election is in October this year, so the timing is very complicated for especially for the mayor who's thinking of running, and what that means if he wants to. There's a lot of you don't want to put your name in.
There's a lot of ifs, yeah, for sure, speculation.
So who would be a potential mayoral candidate? It could be one of our two recently announced deputy mayors, which I don't think they have the. I'm going to use the word charisma to do that.
Yeah, it could be someone from the past who was dragging out,
could be the former mayor
dinosaur dragging out from the past, thinking they can win again.
Jeffrey, I don't know what people think about that. Yeah. It could be former councillors, right? I'm not going to mention any of their names, but here's a possibility. Suppose, and I think Pat Prabmeet will get reelected because I think he's a strong MP. He's out there. He can communicate. You may or may not like Doug Ford's policies, but I think
Prabmeet does. We were impressed with Prabmeet when he first started to run. So,
and we attack him and stuff on Twitter. Well, you do, but he's still
the government, not right? Him.
Yeah, he understands the role. So let's say worst case for him, he loses the provincial government. I think he would make an excellent mayor. That's just, you heard it here first.
Well, I don't disagree. I think Prabmeet has got the ability to communicate in the two different languages, basically. Punjabi and English, right? Especially in Brampton.
He probably knows some French now too.
Yeah, probably a little bit of French, and he's got the the background to go with it as well. So, the thing is, if Patrick wins, he's got to get a seat. So where do you think he's going to run?
Well, that's a good question. I think Brampton Centre. There's a new Liberal MP there, Shafqat Ali. I don't think he's known anywhere in Brampton. But interesting, Darshan says Prabmeet's been hiding from him. I'd be hiding from you too, Darshan. You ask hard questions.
Darshan is very mean to people. It's not like me and you, Faz. We're nice to people.
Yeah, we don't ask hard questions. There's no right answers or wrong answers when we ask. With Darshan, there are right and wrong answers.
Well, here's the thing too, Patrick Brown. If he wins, because right now you got Leswin Lewis, you got Pierre Poilievre and Jean Charest, right? It's supposed to be announcing in Calgary on Thursday, apparently. So if Patrick throws his hat into the ring, let's say, right? There's a possibility because he was closely linked with Jean Charest when he was the Conservative leader before he went to Quebec to be the provincial leader under the Liberals. So he was very closely related there, but maybe a cabinet post or something to go along with that. But if he were to run, he'd probably run up in his own stomping grounds of Barrie, right? Because he had a strong support up in Barrie.
Well, he definitely have to expand his base, right? I think he's got Brampton covered. He's been here for the last 3-4 years, so it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, it's exciting times for people like us who follow this stuff.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot shaken out too, right? Because you can already see. I mean, we saw him at an event in Scarborough. He was talking about the Ukraine crisis. So, people are branching out their tentacles into different things that they've never actually, talked about before. But Patrick has been very vocal on international issues as well. So he's, the one thing he has been doing since he became mayor, he has been very, very social media savvy. So that's something. I haven't seen Leswin Lewis do for ever. She lost the leadership and she disappeared. Jean Charest, well, he's just thrown into it. So maybe, the powers that be behind the scenes saying this is our best hope. I think, for someone like Pierre Poilievre, I mean, I don't know. The guy's been in politics for 20 years.
As has Patrick Brown.
Right. But they've never held a real job. I mean, I'm sorry, but, they've never worked in the private sector. They've always been in politics, and here Pierre Poilievre is talking about how people suffer. Well, he's been on the public tit for his whole life, right? I mean, he's been sucking on the public for his entire life and talking about situations and aligning himself with the truckers. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Someone like Jean Charest, okay, he's got that situation where apparently he was shilling for Huawei, which is not a good look. But at the same time, he's more centrist than Pierre Poilievre and even Lesmond Lewis, who are more rightist. So they may appeal out west or, into those Alberta strongholds, but I don't think the East or Quebec, they're going to make inroads, not even in Ontario either.
Well, it's a matter of how many of your members you can get into the party that they're aligned with your way of thinking. And I think Patrick knows what he's doing. We, both you and I, when we first met him, he was running for the provincial leadership, and we had a baseball tournament, and he was out at the baseball tournament. That was probably one of 10 events he was doing that day. So you cannot out campaign Patrick Brown.
No, and it's going to be interesting to find out when it shakes down. But we'll find out. I think by what they have April. I think it's April the 18th or 16th. You have to declare if you're running for that party or not. So there's a little bit of time, but not much, right? And then the provincial election comes, and then followed by the municipal. So there'll be lots of stuff to be shaken down and talked about.
If you have ambitions to be prime minister, to me, you have to run, right? You got to put your name in the ring. If you win or lose, at this point, it doesn't really matter, right? Because just like Charest, he's been around forever. Your time will come again if you don't make it this time.
We have a question from Cynthia. Who picked the style of the sound bearers on Williams Parkway? The Big Blue. That's something that we haven't forgotten. We are going to be covering that again. We have to go out and get some video coverage on that, because that's going to be another $300,000 that's going to cost the taxpayers for painting.
It sounds like Cynthia loves it.
Do you love it, Cynthia, or hate it? But I think a lot of the people actually hate it. But it was picked by the last council. And as I think that Michael Pileshi said, it was picked for calming colors. And he said when he drives along that stretch of highway, it makes him calm. I'm just quoting from what he said, right?
Yeah, it has a very industrial look. But Cynthia, just a quick update. I think council or city staff is writing a report on some of the options that are available. So I think there's some budget proposals.
Well, they have written the options. They have written the options. Basically, there was to paint it 3 different colors, to basically have artists to paint art on the corners of each thing. But it's going to cost at least $300,000 and probably up to $1 million. So city staff is filling out those. I think there were certain requests that were put through by certain councillors talking about it. What defines art versus graffiti? So they have to figure that one out. And like I said, it's not a dead issue. We're still going to be covering that. It's still going on.
Well, I do think there's a report that's supposed to be coming back to council that they'll have to deal with in this term of council. So I think probably before spring. So that'll be interesting, because I know the 2 local councils, Paul Vicente and Rowena Santos, are advocating for doing something about it, right? And involving our local artists. Yeah.
And we're going to be covering also the barn, the $1 million barn. That is not dead. That is going, there's 2 reports that are still outstanding that I would love to find out what's the holdup. One of them was going to be on docket on the city council before the February 6 came out and fired the CAO. That report was supposed to come out on that council meeting, and I haven't seen that on a council upcoming yet. I got to check on Friday to see, because that's an upcoming city of council, see if that's there. And there was also another report that was due months ago talking about what kind of shape the barn was in, and all the timbers, and is it truly possible to build this barn, or is it going to have to be, a totally new structure and only X amount of percentage of the timbers are salvageable? In that case, it's not even a heritage barn. They're just building a new barn. So that report, we're still looking for. That is not dead on our topic list.
Okay, Don, this was supposed to be a short show, and it turned into a very long show.
Very long show at 6:55.
Yeah, that's a long show for us. We've never gone past 7.
One more thing I'm going to comment on. I got to find out from our city councilors, Ward 7 and 8. But Dixie, basically north of Queen, all the way to the Beauvert, on the east side, it looks like they're really taking all the trees and bushes down that go along and back onto people's properties. So I don't know what they're doing there, if it's something that Parks always does on a regular basis, but I've lived in Brampton for over 30 years, and normally I've never seen that. They do trimming of trees, but they're cutting a whole bunch of trees and bushes off that eastern side on Dixie. So I'll get some footage of that. We'll talk about it probably next week, and we'll go from there.
Maybe you can send an email to your counselor to see if they can let you know what's going on.
Oh, I'm going to. I didn't have time today, but I will in the future, right? There's, it's a busy day, running around doing things,
So I heard you got some surgery coming up. Are you going to be available next week, Don?
I will be available. The surgery is on Thursday. I will be documenting it. I got to get a knee replacement. So,
Thursday. Next Thursday.
On the 17th, I go in.
So yeah, get some video. Let's talk about it.
Well, I'll talk about it. I'm going to be actually posting
Let's find out how much this is costing the taxpayer. I'd really like to know that.
I paid into it for about 60 years, so I guess I deserve it, right? But yeah, it's knee replacement. So I'm going to be talking about it, probably putting it on our seniors town hall, and going through some of the things that I'm experiencing. Obviously, pain in the knee, and post-surgery, pre-surgery, what you got to do, what they tell me to do. So apparently, it's a 1-day procedure. You're in and out the same day, and then they tell you you're walking within a week or two, and then you've got to do physio and all the other stuff that comes with it.
So when you'll have full mobility by the summer?
I better.
You can ride your bike still? You just can't go through the security at the airport without getting flagged now.
No, actually you can. Apparently you can if you they supply you with something that I think that says that I have a replacement knee or something like that. You get from the doctor or something. So
okay, all right. So
it's like having a metal plate in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got one of those. Right. Okay, so we got more comments. Good luck. Good luck. You got a good
luck. Yeah, no kidding. I'm not too enthusiastic about getting surgery on the knee, but I guess it has to be done.
And you got to get both of them over time, or is it just
over time? Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
Oh man, I really got to find out the cost of this thing. This is crazy. It's ridiculous, Don.
Well, you're in and out the same day. You can't. I'm not putting a burden on the taxpayers by staying in the hospital, right? So, they're kicking me out. I'll grab a cab and I'll be home.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for all your comments. And we'll see you next Tuesday at the same time.